Today we're going to be picking up what I believe to be a white oak tree that came down. And I believe it was still alive yet. And I'm hoping it's in good shape. We'll take a look at it. I'm not much into wood beyond firewood, not even really much into firewood for that matter. But after I seen this tree come down, and I actually did witness it come down. It was kind of windy. I was out here and it actually fell while I was down here. And I'm glad because it was sitting at a 45-degree angle. And I knew it was going to eventually fall, and I was going to preemptively take it down. But it was a dangerous tree to do that. So I'm kind of glad it ended up just falling over. Combination of the spring moisture in the ground and the wind ended up taking it down. Normally I would cut this all into firewood, but as I looked at this, I just keep thinking about the wood shortage and the fact that I believe it's white oak. I don't know that for sure, but I'm suspecting it's white oak. It just seems like a shame to cut this up into firewood and burn it when I believe it's a pretty solid log, and we'll find that out once we get it apart. Maybe it's junk inside, but I would bet some pretty good money that it's in pretty good shape. And I paced it off. Looks like we can get 4 8-foot logs out of here. That should be at least 18 inches on the small end, hopefully. And even the rest of this here will still leave a lot of good firewood, and there may actually be a saw log out of the one branch after it wise off. And so lately I've been thinking about this whole lumber shortage that we're in at the time of the video. I'm shooting the video. And just thinking about why are we in this shortage? And I watched a couple other YouTube videos on it. And it's not really clear all the reasons we're in this shortage. The one video made the conclusion that the sawmills were burning down. That had some effect on things. I can't, that's the only thing I can really remember. There were some other reasons too, but none of them really stood out. But I wonder if it's a combination of complex things, like most things are. And I was, even in the case of myself here, so the land here has a lot of hardwoods, which I'm fortunate to have. I don't even really know all the different species of trees. And again, I'm not even sure if this is white oak. I suspect it is, because most of the leaves on the ground are a white oak leaf. But I'm pretty sure there's other types of trees here, including beech. Obviously there's pine. There might be some poplar trees even. I'm not sure. It goes to show you how bad I am identifying trees. I can't even tell the difference between a poplar tree and maybe a white oak. I realize that's pretty bad. This tree here, there's a couple of these. I think they're some sort of hardwood, maybe. And I'm not even sure if maybe they're small white oak. I don't know. This other one here, I seem to have a few of these. This bark looks different than the one that's on the ground. And then I'm starting to think that maybe there's a possibility this might be cottonwood. And I know some of you guys watching this will be highly entertained, and that's what YouTube's all about, right? Watching people like me that are inexperienced, and you can help clear things up for me, which ultimately is what I'm asking here. What would you do, assuming this is white oak, and we'll find out. I think we'll find out once we pick it up, get it cut up. What would you do? There's clearly 4 saw logs that are in here, 8-footers. Is it worth taking to the sawmill and having them cut? The last time I did that was a few years ago. I found some sycamore trees that a friend of a friend wanted taken down. I took them down, and again, the same situation. They were good, healthy trees, solid, bigger diameter, I think 36 inch at the base, and I had them cut into boards. and then I put them in a pile. I didn't store them correctly, and they ended up succumbing to rot, and so it was a complete waste. In this case, this should be turned into something more than firewood. That's pretty clear in my mind, but what that is, I don't know. We do need a new floor at our camp, and I was thinking maybe why not cut this into flooring. But then the little bit I know about flooring, I don't think any lumber mill can just turn this into flooring. I think flooring is pretty specialized, and you need a lot of very expensive and unique equipment to do that, to maintain the tolerances so you can put it together. And I think they're tongue and grooved, and again, I'm showing my ignorance, and that's fine, because I'm not trying to be the one that knows all the answers with processing wood, but I think at a minimum I don't want to burn this up. That just seems like a shame. Therefore, we're going to cut these into saw logs and at least hold on to them now till we figure out what to do with them. But again, back to why are we in a lumber shortage, and what is that lumber shortage? And is it things like this, white oak, or is it just dimensional lumber, 2x4s, things like that out of pine? And I really don't know, but I know that our communities and our lifestyles are changing, and I kind of wonder how much of this is related to just two things, I guess, is the availability of wood. You know, is there a lot of trees available that's available for mills and things to get their hands on, because a lot of land is privately owned and not everybody's given that up, or at least collectively, for somebody to go in and make it worthwhile. Then you got these situations with like a homeowner like myself. Well, this would be a great tree, but it's just one tree, so what good is that? And is it, I don't even know if I take it to a mill, they might say you don't even have enough to do a run, so it isn't worth our time. Are they going to mix it in with some other orders? That's probably what they'll do. I don't know how that stuff works, or what's worth it and what's not. I know when you do things on a small scale, a lot of times it's just not worth it for anybody to get into to make anything useful out of it. I wonder how much that's part of it, and I wonder how much our culture of finding workers that are wanting to do this, because even my own job, I work in an office normally, and I love getting out and doing this, but it's only because I don't have that opportunity much. If I did it day after day, I don't think I'd like chainsaws, I don't think I'd like loaders, I don't think I'd like diesel powered winches. When you do it day in, and you just want to get away from that stuff because you just see it so much. But in my case, I rarely get the opportunity to pick up what I'm hoping is a white oak, and so I'm going to take the advantage to do it, and we'll spend all day or maybe a couple days doing this, hopefully safely doing it. But again, going back to why are we having a lumber shortage now? What's driving that? Is it because we don't have the workers to do it? Is it because of the current COVID situation? Is it because new generation weren't taught anything, don't want to work? I even struggle with my own kids, getting them some interest to help. They're young yet, which I understand, but there's almost no drive other than to play video games, and I get it. I'm old, or young enough, I guess, to be part of that, and I've played my share of video games, and I've since given that up, mainly because, in my opinion, it's a little bit selfish just to lock yourself behind a computer and turn the rest of the world out, although this is arguable that this is doing the same thing. But I try and include other people, namely my kids, to help with this. But my big problem is, of course, keeping them safe, and that's one thing I got to be on high alert for, because it's dangerous for all of us when you start working with this type of stuff to get hurt. And then back to society, are people on unemployment now? So there's these stimulus packages that are letting people, it's giving people the opportunity to be on unemployment. That's great. I'm not against that for any reason, but is that part of the reason why we have a lumber shortage? Because, hey, I mean, I'd rather draw unemployment rather than going and working on things. Like, if I didn't like to do this, I'd be out here tripping over sticks and all the other dangers that go with this, when I could be just doing other things and collecting enough money to live on. I mean, heck yeah. And in some cases, I wouldn't be opposed to taking a pay cut for the job I do, just because it allows me to do some of the things I know I'm not going to be doing enough of later on, and still taking advantage of it when my health is as good as it is, because we all know as time goes on that generally only declines, even if you take care of yourself. So I don't know what's driving all this stuff, but I did come to the conclusion that it's probably a dirty shame to go ahead and cut this up and burn it as firewood. So my question is, what would you guys do? Assuming this is white oak, what would you use it for? Give us some ideas so we can maybe put these to use for that.